Aid organizations have been releasing huge amounts of food and funds as humanitarian support for the people displaced by insecurity and armed conflicts in northeast Nigeria. Yet, severe hunger remains one of the major problems faced by internally displaced persons in the region. An on-the-ground investigation carried out by HumAngle revealed how corrupt aid workers sustain hunger among displaced persons by dubiously manipulating the process of food distribution among victims. This practice is so widespread that it has its own name, Kashe Mu Raba, which is a Hausa term that translates to mean "kill, let us share." In this context, it is used to mean acquire so that we can share. Before they are enlisted as beneficiaries of humanitarian assistance, some IDPs are tricked into agreeing to share relief materials equally with aid workers or local volunteers who registered them. This is merely another way through which the efforts of humanitarian agencies committed to reducing the suffering of victims of armed violence are being undermined in the Northeast. Humanitarian efforts are persistently sabotaged by some of the actors who serve as intermediaries between the organizations and beneficiaries. Last year, we reported how humanitarian agencies' goal for eradicating hunger among IDPs was becoming a mirage in the face of wanton diversion of food and other relief materials by local camp officials. Other practices that create barriers between food items and targeted beneficiaries include injustice and favoritism in the distribution process. Although the Kashe Mu Raba practice has continued to dig holes in the lives of displaced persons in Borno State, it has been a ghost in the mouth of beneficiaries who are scared to open up. IDPs in Borno told HumAngle that they mostly receive an average of food items equivalent to 33,600 naira, but they lose half of it to this dubious process. We found this practice to be rampant between camps in Maiduguri and Jere local government area. After they are given food items and have taken it home, the staff or volunteer who registered them would follow up to take half of the food items. Corrupt aid workers usually make this a condition before they enlist IDPs among beneficiaries of livelihood interventions. Already hunger-stricken, IDPs are compelled to agree with the condition, thinking that the corrupt aid workers are benevolent enough to get them enlisted. Although this common practice has been denying IDPs the support they deserve, making livelihood interventions less effective on them, many of them are unwilling to call out the corrupt aid workers. They are afraid that reporting might raise a problem that would force them to pay back what they were given. And sometimes they are threatened that they would be permanently banned from receiving aid if they dared report. We have reached out to some of these organizations to let them know of our findings and get comments from them, but we have not heard back from them. Kashe Mu Raba is a breach of the humanitarian policy that forbids aid workers or volunteers from receiving any form of reward in kind, cash, or sex from any beneficiary in exchange for humanitarian services. If corrupt practices such as this are allowed to continue, more displaced persons are at risk of being pushed to even more severe hunger conditions. The corrupt practices would equally continue to erect barriers between humanitarian demands and the efforts towards addressing them by international aid organizations. This is part 9 of our video series explaining insecurity drivers in northern Nigeria. We're breaking down major indicators of violent conflicts and covering the communities most impacted by it.
With support from the MacArthur Foundation, HumAngle is working to strengthen investigative and data-driven journalism in order to reduce corruption.